So for the best practice, I had the daily behavior form, and the daily behavior form is used to keep track of a student's behavior, either through a whole day, or through a class period. And it just makes them accountable for their actions. So it can be used to increase a behavior or decrease a behavior. So it can be used for either. Um, Students who present behaviors that we like to decrease, which would be behaviors not as good behaviors, would be getting up out of their seat, aggression, just being off task. Um, they should be accommodated by daily behavior form. The daily behavior form could accommodate students if you're trying to get them to increase a certain behavior too. So if you're trying to, it's stated differently, increase the student to raise their hand before getting out of their seats, or to increase the student behavior of, I don't know, just not getting up as much, then it can be used for that as well. It promotes self-responsibility because the students are keeping track of how many times do they do this behavior that they're wanting to increase or decrease, on their own. I'm sure that the teacher will help them to keep track of it, but it's definitely a responsibility thing for students. I think it definitely makes students more aware of their behaviors too. I think sometimes students don't realize the aggression they show, or don't realize how many times they do something until it's shown visually to them. Why should we use them? Like I talked about just before, it promotes responsibility, increases their motivation. So typically, it motivates them to either increase or decrease this behavior that the teacher's wanting from them, because typically we would like to set goals for the amount of times this student increases or decreases that behavior, whether it's throughout the day, throughout the week, or throughout that class period. It holds them accountable on a daily basis for the behaviors that they've shown. It typically will improve communication between the student and the teacher, because you will talk to the student about, what behaviors you are going to expect from them, and then when the day is over, you'll talk to them about what behaviors were shown and what behaviors they did well or should have done better. It promotes routine, structure, consistency, and organization. So this routine is, it just shows a routine of getting up and down, or it shows them a routine of what they shouldn't do. And the organization is just that it's shown right there in front of them on the desk, so they are able to see that at all times, and I think that makes them aware. It improves their grades and accountability. I think it improves grades because typically a behavior that we're trying to decrease is off-task behavior. So that will decrease that behavior and will make them more interactive in the lesson you're teaching. It holds them accountable. It provides students with more one-on-one help, support, and interventions. So that one-on-one help comes from the teacher when you all talk about it, and being supportive of them and saying, good job, or giving them rewards for when they meet goals, or just rewards for doing something correct. That's that support that they need, and I think that will definitely make that behavior that you're wanting to continue. When's the right time to use this? When behavior problems become consistent. So if you want to use it to decrease behaviors, it's when they become consistent, when they're unorganized, when they refuse to do their work or complete daily tasks, or when they're just really emotional or stressed. That can be a good thing to use for behaviors like that as well. It can be used when you want a student to perform a task differently, so increasing a behavior, increasing raising your hand before asking a question, increasing the behavior of not getting out of your seat, or when you want to promote students to do things in a specific manner. Before implementing this, the student should be observed and data should be collected before this intervention is implemented at all. You want to develop a list of the behaviors that you'd like to increase or decrease. It's really important that the student knows beforehand what is expected of them. The expectations is really important, especially for a lot of students with disabilities. So be sure to include parents in this process. Just including parents in any information or any changes that you would like to make with their kid, it's going to help build a bond between you and the parent, and just going to be good communication for you all, and even bounce ideas back and forth off of each other. They know that student really well, and although some parents may not think that their child does anything wrong, a lot of parents are going to be really helpful about things that they see at home, or things that they don't see that you see differently. There's a lot of pros and cons. Of course, every good thing has cons, no matter what. Pros are it increases responsibility or self-responsibility for the student. There's typically more motivation, more student involvement, and you're building a relationship with that student as well as the family, because when there's student involvement, there's typically more parent involvement, although that's not always the case. Cons could be that the student could be unresponsive to the form completely. They may not like the idea or won't be willing to do it on their own. Parents might not be willing or able to put that time in at home either, and they might not agree or allow for the form to be used. And just having that responsibility on a student can be really stressful for them as well. So the support that needs to come along from the teacher is really important when implementing that behavior form. How to do it. You utilize the behavior form after the data is gathered. So when you gather data and figure out what behaviors you want to increase or decrease, you just utilize the form and make data about what behavior was shown today, what was shown or what's going to be shown tomorrow, how many times this behavior was shown, if that's a behavior you want to increase or decrease. Explain what you expect from the students. I mean, that's super important. You have to have clear expectations. You'll rate the students at the end of each period or each day, whichever one you decide. And then just talk to them about that. Definitely talk to them about why it happened, what happened, and how it can be prevented or increased next time. Send a form home with the family. So, that just builds communication with you and the family and helps you all to be on the same page and come together for a common goal. And when using a form, there should definitely be goals set. They should have a clear understanding of what's expected, and there should be a goal set for example, if I only get out of my seat 3 times without raising my hand today, then this will be my reward because I've met that goal. And we just want to either increase or decrease the behavior that we're looking towards and set goals. That way it'll become second nature, hopefully, to that student. Goals are set to increase motivation and decrease or increase a specific behavior. And these are my resources, and that's all I have. Thanks.